That's it. We're just saying get comfy.
Yeah,
Buckle up for
yeah.
this one. But
Buckle up.
Nules,
But
thanks
I'm
so much
thinking,
for coming back. You were my first guest and you're back. I think we're over the 50 mark now anyway. And it's
I can't believe
absolutely
that.
brilliant to have you back.
I can't believe it. It's brilliant to be back. And I mean, oh my God, your podcast has gone from strength to strength. Some of the people you have had on have been unbelievable. It's so
And look,
interesting.
it's right back at you. It's yours is going strength to strength as well into goal out now, and I just,
Yeah.
makes it like like I think I told you the story where I was flying over to Vegas. We had our sales kickoff from work over there, and I was browsing on Aer Lingus through I was like, "Fuck, how are you going to feel like a 14-hour flight?" So I put on. I was looking through the podcast, and boom, there's the
They're all.
Ireland mystery.
I know. Yeah, that was a big thing, yeah, for me personally to be.
Yeah, and it's a great endorsement. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
to be
that
selected there.
yeah, and that was, I think, because like my numbers since then in America have gone good and high, like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean. So I
that's
put
what you
that down
want.
to that, a lot of that, like, the in-flight entertainment on Aer Lingus. Yeah, what an
Yeah,
endorsement!
yeah, and that's it.
Absolutely.
We were chatting off camera. Like I think we're getting into the realms there of where it's the smaller percentages. I think it's like 5% or get over episode 50 or last over the 2 years.
Yeah,
There's such attrition, and I think
yeah.
it's because it's like what you see this with YouTubers and stuff as well. It's to constantly, like, 'cause your numbers are small, you're not earning a lot of money, but you kind of keep going, and it's like that's the whole thing.
Plodding
The
away.
people at the top of the charts are just the people that kept going, really.
Yeah, you have to just keep plodding away at it if you want to get into podcasting. It's not an overnight thing. You have to keep working at it and building your audience, and you're learning as you go. I'm still learning, like, you know what I mean. So every day's a school day, but you just keep plodding along.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're going to keep having so much material because, like, the murders this week. As I said, I want to read out some of these stats to you here first, right? So these are
Yes,
coming from the
please.
CSO, Central Statistics Office in Ireland. Sexual offences rose by 8% in 2024, and by any trends I've seen, they're looking like they're going to rise again in 2025. Like 8%, right?
That's a
So when
lot.
you're thinking 8%, think of how many more, like, pretty much, like, I think the majority, 80% are down to women. Think of how many more women then have been, victims of these offences. Like, we're reading 8% like it's a number, but there's like so many people at the back of these, right?
Yeah. Well, there's real people at the back of them, isn't there? Yeah.
We have weapons and explosive offences rose 5% in 2024. Public order offences rose 5% in 2024. Theft and related offences grew 3% in 2024, marking a 48% rise since 2020.
So none of them going in the right direction. They're all going in the wrong direction, basically.
Yeah, attempts, threats to murder, assaults, and harassments increased 3% in 2024, and burglary and related offences rose 2%. So again,
God.
like, I know there's some things are trending downwards. Maybe this year they'll trend downwards. I know from the homicide rate in the first half of the year was down, I think, 24% in
Okay.
2024. But like the recent
I was
spat of
going to say,
murders,
I think that might have changed a bit in the last few weeks and months.
yeah,
I mean, it's been a horrendous couple of weeks here. So it has, with that murder there, a triple murder of the family during the week. That was very sad. So, like, I wonder, is a lot of it to do with, in the last year or two, the Garda presence. We don't seem to have a massive Garda presence around our streets, or, you never see well, I don't know about where you come from, but where I come from, you rarely see a guard on the beat anymore.
rarely.
Yeah.
And I think what did I see today on the news that I don't think they've even capacity to train with over 1,000 or even up to
Yeah.
1,000.
Do you know?
So I think there's probably a bottleneck even there in terms of recruitment and terms of training. Uh,
And they
I know a
raised
few guards
I
that
think
got
they
out,
raised the age, didn't they, to 50 or something, wasn't it?
took out
Yeah.
then. I don't think you have to speak Gaeilge either. You used to have to.
Yeah.
I remember you used to have to be over 6 foot and not have a beard.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Absolutely. Yeah. That's not that long ago, actually.
no,
Do you
no.
know? But I just wonder, is that a lot of, like, the lawlessness you see going on now in towns and that, obviously, I think, well, I personally now, I mean, I don't know if it's the truth, but I think drugs has a lot to do with it as well. Um, things have changed a lot even since like days when I was in my 20s and that, like, there was still drugs around, obviously, but it seems to be on every street corner now. You associated it with cities and that years ago. Now it's in villages. It's in like, places you've never heard of in Ireland, and you just, I don't know what do you think is the pinpoint? What would you pinpoint as the causation?
Yeah, well, I think the thing that strikes me there is, right, take that triple murder in Loud. Like the son that did it, he was allegedly having mental health issues since the age of 22.
Yes.
You look at then George Turner, so he pleaded guilty to the murder of, what was her name, Emma McCrory. He pleaded guilty to the murder that week or this week or in court. But again, like his solicitor is arguing that he's had mental health issues all his life. You're seeing these mental health issues now. I don't know if it's a cop out.
Yeah.
For people trying not to try to extricate themselves from having to
Face the
face
full.
the penalty of law, like diminished responsibility with mental health. Like, and again, I'm not in any way diminishing people that actually have a mental health issue, but it's either that or we're there's a serious mental health
Issues in
issue
yeah.
underpinning a lot of crime, and I don't hear people talking about it really. Like you look over in the US, and obviously they have serious gun violence, and there's
Yes.
an issue with a lot of guns. But you also hear what's a parallel platitude that's kind of almost on a different talk track is mental health issues. Like all these mass shootings, like some
We become
psycho has access
desensitized.
to a gun.
We become desensitized to them. Like, we're even desensitized to what's going on in the US because we see it. Like, I mean, take for instance what's current at the moment over there, the Charlie Kirk assassination. I mean, you just had to go onto TikTok and you actually saw the moment of impact of the bullet, and like now, like you initially kind of go, oh my god, like, but like it's kind of become normalized now. Like we never saw. Okay, we had the JFK's, the Bruder tape, and all that, but that was a kind of a, But normally we weren't seeing murders played out on TikTok and all that kind of stuff back in the day, like, So I think a lot of people have become desensitized to it and don't kind of, they're not bothered like we would have been before about stuff like this, And even for people that might have a mild mental health issue, seeing stuff like that, like, can't be good for their mental health, But as regards mental health in this country, and as you said, there are obviously a lot of people that genuinely do have mental health issues. But from a criminal justice point of view, you do wonder, like, sometimes is it kind of thrown around very freely? I know obviously they have to be seen by psychiatrists on both sides, but, they're obviously going to give their 2 and 6pence for the defence or for the prosecution, like,
Yeah. And maybe
so,
that's it. Maybe a part of this, like obviously there's never going to be one thing. It's going to be a multitude of factors. That's always like any trend is going to be multiple things. But like maybe one big part of it is that, maybe if you're on Instagram, TikTok for 4 hours a day, and your algorithm is pumping like violence, because you go onto Instagram, like you can see your whole algorithm can be dead. People getting
yeah,
mauled by a bear, a car crash. Like you see murders on it constantly. If you're looking at that like for a long time,
yeah, becomes
a long
normal.
portion of the day, you have some underlying mental health issue. I don't know, whatever the lines between reality and this kind of algorithm that you're hooked into just blur, and violence becomes more of a accessible almost
Yes.
in your own psyche.
And almost kind of entertainment, like, in a sense, like sensationalized,
Yeah,
do you know?
yeah,
I mean, it's not like the first thing I always think of, like, not that I'd see that, I don't go seeking them out online, obviously. But like, if something does come up on your feed like that, I automatically think anyway, oh my God, like their family can see this. Oh my, their friends can see this, like, and I put myself in that situation. If I saw somebody I knew getting their head blown off on all over TikTok, do you know, I don't know. I don't know. The world has gone very crazy, so it is in general, like, and like as I said, social media can be very good. It has its very good points, but it also can be a cesspit.
Yeah. It's a cesspit. And do you know what it is? It's a cesspit because it's a mirror. Like, so the algorithm is pretty much, it's a mirror reflecting back the entertainment choices of the people viewing it. So, like, the fact that it's turning into a cesspit is because people are intrigued in the cesspool.
Yes.
And that's what it's doing. It's just feeding more of that content. And when people see that content go viral, then, there's an impulse then to create more of it. So my content. So it's almost like a mirror in
Yeah.
a weird, macabre way.
Yes.
Uh, but again, I don't know how it steps back from that. Like, how,
Like,
you
I
get
mean,
sensitized again.
yes, and like, I mean, I suppose, remember, I think what we were saying before in one of, I think when you were on my podcast last time, when we were saying like, people are interested in true crime. Like, there's so many people interested in it because they can watch it from the safety of their own home. Do
Yeah.
you know? And they're kind of curious. It's like, I suppose, curiosity killed the cat in a way. Like, so you can, you're curious about like Jeffrey Dahmer, or you're curious about BTK, or you're curious about so and so that was killed in Cork yesterday. And it's all accessible. It's right there on your phone, and you don't have to worry about anything happening to you. You're in the safety of your own home, like. So
And like what we know from so many psychological studies as well. We know from everything. Like, if you go to the gym and train arms, your arms are kind of going to grow, and if you stop training them, they're not going to grow. If you're constantly looking at, like, kind of the macabre, if you're constantly looking at murders, there's a part of your brain that's going to like switch off to the empathy you'd have around a human.
yes,
Like, we know this. Like, we know the neurons are the very same as the way the muscles kind of work. Like, if I keep writing every day, or if I keep reading every day, the part of my brain or the parts maybe that are responsible for maybe uh, processing language through a book
yes,
and stuff like that are going to get really uh, are going to get enlarged, or they're going to get quicker. So I'll be able to read a book quicker. I'll understand it better.
yeah,
So, like, if you can imagine, if you're constantly looking at murders and stuff,
yeah. You're going to,
the
yeah,
part of your brain is going to become more susceptible maybe to that, or maybe
yeah.
I don't know what sort of
And
weird
if you're that
pathology.
way predisposed, in that direction, like,
Yeah.
in the beforehand, that's just going to make it even worse, like, and you don't know, like, if these people that have these mental health issues, that they're saying that it's mental health, like, what have they been watching online, like, what have they seen, like, now obviously there could be other things involved, like, I mean, especially a lot of these, like, you normally now, when you see on the television that a family has been annihilated, you know that it's either going to be a murder suicide, or it's going to be like a child of, if it's elderly people. Like, we've seen a lot of that in recent years. Do you know, I think there was one again there last summer where a son murdered his father, and it's
And we had
just,
in Finglas this week
yes,
the dad, the murder and
that's
suicide in
right, a little
Finglas.
5-year-old girl, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, we're such a small little country for so much going on, so much horrible stuff like that going on. Like, it's like, I remember my father telling me years ago when he was a young guy, like, he said, like, you never hear of a murder in the country. Like, it was just wasn't, a random murder. Like, it just wasn't a thing. Like, it was very, very rare. And now, like, that, we're just, oh, there's another murder, like, another
I
murder.
know. Like, well, what I'm thinking there, like, so I had Harold Schechter on, like, so he's a true crime writer. He's wrote a lot on, like, Ed Gein and Albert Fish and some of the, like, really bad serial killers. I think, yeah, he's wrote loads anyway, but, like, what he was saying, one of his theories kind of on it was, like, the kind of this rise, like the big rise we see in, like, serial killers. He thinks part of it was like to do with the sexual revolution, where if it feels good, do it, kind of.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that, like, a lot of these kind of the Bundys of the worlds and stuff, that was like,
Like the San Francisco in the 60s kind of thing, was it?
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
we're a part of like this maybe serial killer trend because it really peaked in that 70s kind of,
Yes.
just kind of
That's the era
throughout
you
the,
think about, actually, when you think about
yeah.
serial killers. You kind of go back to the 70s, kind of, don't you?
And like if you look at the social, the cultural zeitgeist, then it was like do whatever you feel. It was almost this kind of the freeing of inhibitions from what I can read online. Uh, and it's like if that was like back then, if there was maybe something in the social mores that was like do what you want, full sexual liberation, and like for some of these sexual liberation was strangling a woman
Yeah.
or killing people. And you have to kind of wonder then, like, what is the signals kind of in today's society? Like, is there something there where it's like what you were saying, where murder is we're exposed to murder constantly,
Yes.
constantly exposed to murder, where it almost becomes is at this level of social proof where it's like, oh, it's happening everywhere, and it's like the desensitization or whatever is
And
happening
from a
on
young
a
age, probably.
yeah,
Kids have phones in their hands, so you don't know what they're watching, do you know?
yeah. Like
So,
the only saving grace is about like any of the murders there recently. They've mainly been solved like fairly
yeah,
quick. There hasn't been these like ones where people are left in limbo, wondering
yeah.
like
That
a
is,
lot of what you cover on the channel. It's like
yeah,
the families have just they've been waiting years, or some
yeah.
might never get the closure.
Majority of them don't have closure. Like, a lot of the missing persons ones are still missing persons. The families are still um, without any closure, which is terribly sad. Like, and a lot of those cases, I'd be talking to families and that, and they obviously still have, evidence. Say, sometimes they have evidence or what have you, and they'd be wanting the cases upgraded so that they could do more testing on evidence. And the powers that be are very slow to upgrade from missing, say, persons to murder investigations, and a lot of these probably could be solved with DNA and stuff like that, and it's very frustrating for the families.
Can you imagine, like, because like our brains hate
Yeah.
loops
Not
that aren't
no,
closed.
not to have something figured out.
Yeah,
We have to figure stuff out, like, and even just for, like, I couldn't imagine not knowing, like pick any family member and not knowing where they are, and not knowing where they are for 20 or 30 years. Knowing that they're probably dead, but where the hell are they, like, Yeah, what happened to them? Yeah. And yeah, it's a very sad situation to be in. It's a horrible situation for, like, my heart goes out to them because, and I have talked to quite a few of them now, and, they're all the same now at this stage. When it goes past a kind of a certain amount of time, they don't even want justice anymore. They just want to know where they are. Like, just
yeah,
an anonymous tip. Just let us know where the body is, do you know?
and it
So,
doesn't happen.
no,
It rarely happens. Like I
yeah,
thought uh, what was the? Struggling to remember her name now. It was the one in Tullamore, not Jojo Dollard,
Fiona
Fiona Pender.
Ender,
Yeah,
yeah.
when that reopened there,
Mm,
was it back during the summer? I thought
yeah.
maybe something was going to come of it.
Yeah, I don't know. From stuff I've heard now, that's going to be a hard one to solve. To be honest with you now, without saying too much,
Yeah,
it's going to be a hard one to solve. I'd have, unfortunately, obviously, I wish it wasn't going to be, but I'd have more kind of hope for, like, the likes of the Annie McCarrick one. I think that one, like, I really can't understand why that hasn't been solved, to be honest with you.
yeah, they have names, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have a lot of stuff. No, I mean, I could be giving out here now, and they could be doing massive work in the background. Do you know? Because, like, you think they're doing nothing. I just give that caveat. You think they're doing nothing, and then next thing you do hear that they're doing searches here, there, and it's from investigations. So, like, stuff is going on in the background with them all, like, But you just think with the advances in science and all, like even the Sophie Toscan Duplantier one now, the way they've sent the DNA off to America now, this MVAC machine that can literally suck DNA out of that block, you know,
yeah,
with, like, stuff that was unheard of even 5 years ago. So, like, we might have a potential
yeah,
answer to the question there, like, that's been going on for 30 odd years or more.
yeah,
Maybe
definitely. I
40
actually
years.
have the. He's the president. He's the guy that invented the MVAC.
Yeah.
coming on in 2 weeks. That we
Oh,
can't
have
talk
you?
about that case though.
Oh,
But he has a great podcast, All Things Crime, it's called as well.
yes.
But that is the more. I just can't wait to learn more about that technology. Like
Yeah.
that, they seem like Nules off. They can get it off the most microscopic little
Yeah. Do you even think like I mean that
places.
block has been I mean that block or a breeze it wasn't a breeze block. I think it was an actual big stone or whatever you call it. Like that's been in evidence for since 1996.
Yeah,
Do you know and they're going to be able to extract from that. It's unbelievable, like,
yeah.
hopefully they're going to be able to extract it. And I can understand why you can't talk to him about it because it's ongoing at the
It's
minute,
ongoing. That's it. They can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, ongoing because I think it can
Well,
jeopardize
yeah,
cases and
you
stuff.
could,
This
yeah,
thing,
could jeopardize it in court, you see, if they're
you
talking
know.
about it outside of
And it's not that long ago. For some
1996.
reason, I thought
Yeah.
that was recent. Like as in the 2000s. No, it was in the 90s, was it?
Yeah, it was in 1996, December of 1996, yeah. And I actually was at, Jim Sheridan has that new movie out now, Recreation. So I was at the pre-screening of that a couple of weeks ago. Uh,
Tell us
yeah,
about this.
yeah, it was brilliant. Now I have to say, and Jim Sheridan was there, and Johnny Connors was there, and they were lovely, lovely people. They're very ordinary
Yeah.
Jim Sheridan was very ordinary for all his accolades and that. But the film itself was really good, I have to say now. I went into it with an open mind and, I had my own ideas of who I thought was guilty and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it would definitely, like, basically the premise of it is what if Ian Bailey had been put on trial in Ireland? Like, so they have the 12 jurors and like they have a kind of a mix. They have a few French, they have somebody I think from Yugoslavia, they have a few Irish, and basically all the like a lot of the actual case files and
Yeah.
all like from the investigation is all presented to them. And like Jim Sheridan said, a lot of it was done ad lib. It wasn't like actual, learned lines. He said 80 to 85% of the film is just ad libbed by them, by the
Whoa.
actors. Yeah. And they come to a conclusion then in the end whether they think Ian Bailey was the killer or wasn't. So I won't give away what way it ended, but it's yeah, you'd come out of there now. There was some evidence that was brought forward in it that we'd never heard of before, which
That is
I
okay.
found
I didn't
fascinating.
even know about this film, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Was it in cinema? Like, where do you
Yeah,
get that?
it's in omniplexes now. Yeah, it's on it was started. I think it came out on either the 2nd or the 3rd of October. Yeah, recreation, the trial of Ian Bailey.
Okay, I even like the concept that it's like
Yeah,
a movie that's a trial. That's actually something that
yeah,
happened. That's kind of
yeah.
factual, but there's actors in it. It's not like
Oh yeah,
documentary
yeah.
style.
Oh
Yeah,
no, no, it's actor. He was
yeah.
going to, he said, do a documentary style, but no, he decided there was too much kind of, that he'd do it this way. And it's set in the jury room after the trial, kind of. They're
Oh,
all
okay,
sitting down
brilliant. Yeah,
and they're debating it out, basically. Yeah,
yeah. That's
very,
a interesting concept.
yeah. Yeah, so I definitely would recommend it, and I'd be interested to see what you would you change your whatever your ideas on it are.
I know because like that's it. Bailey's there. He died there
No, he
last year,
did. Yeah,
wasn't
it was December of
he?
last year that he
Yeah,
died. Anyway, like it split the country basically. Like
yeah,
a lot of people think
yeah,
he didn't do it. Like Jim Sheridan definitely doesn't think he did it. He agrees he was an obnoxious, kind of narcissistic
yeah.
guy who loved the sound of his own voice. But he said that doesn't make you a murderer. Now, and he obviously knows as well that, he had been, abusive to his partner and all that kind of stuff. But he said that still doesn't make you a murderer, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
but who did it then? Like that's the thing.
yeah.
Is there any other theories
No, I
offered
kind of,
up?
I like, you'd be wondering then about the husband in France. Do you know? Because I don't think everything was rosy in the garden there either,
Yeah,
Was there, no, I mean, this is all speculation, my
yeah,
speculation. I mean, there's nothing, obviously Ian Bailey was found guilty in a court in France, like, but, you just wonder was somebody sent from France, knowing that she was there in this very isolated. It's very isolated. I couldn't imagine being down there in the middle of December, man, woman, or child now on my own in that house, because yeah,
it's isolation. Really, that's what it is.
like I know there's a house behind it, but apart from that, it's just like desolation, nothing,
Yeah.
and then cliff edge and sea, you know. So
Oh,
yeah,
and it's still a mystery. It's one of them
yeah, it's one of those enduring ones
mysteries.
that might hopefully maybe be
Yeah.
solved with your next
Yeah. Well,
yes.
like that's it. That technology is going to, it could, like, I think that's where all the technology is going. Is that and into the, who else was saying it was like into the genealogy kind of, that's
That's
really,
another amazing breakthrough that you can like actually like I mean that Brian Koberger case in America.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they found him through
Yeah.
genealogy from like I don't know which one it was, but one of those ancestry.com kind of ones. Like, you know,
Yeah. And they got that Golden State Killer.
yes.
That was in 2019. I'm going to hazard a guess with 2019,
Yeah,
but
it's a
like
while ago
that's
now,
how they
yeah.
got him as well.
Yeah. So
You
like,
know,
you know, you want to think twice now if you're going giving up your DNA to one of those ancestry sites.
that's it. Well,
But
and
it
like
doesn't even matter if you don't, because your great uncle in Japan has done it, like, you know, and knows
no,
you. And,
I know. Well,
you
like,
know,
and then there was the, and this is going off topic, but were that 23andMe, were they being sold to China or something? Like, I just, like, because they
oh,
don't
yeah. So,
like
like,
have the same ethical stand, like, 'cause it's
no,
everyone's kind of CCP, it's a bit more kind of communist. Like, I don't know if I'd
I
like
know,
my DNA in a system out there, you know.
oh, they, if they want to get it, they get it off you anyway.
Yeah, well,
You know,
that's it,
Gary, do you
you
know,
know.
you're leaving
But
it everywhere.
yeah, I suppose even, do you know what, I'm going to, because I know we're going to discuss Michael Gaine, so I'm going to use this
Yes,
as a segue here. So just to, like, I'm going to read out here the timeline because it's kind of fascinating to me.
it is
Uh,
fascinating.
and see, like, I think there's a few points of interest for me, but again, and everything is, I think you put this good disclaimer into here at the end of your show, like, it's all alleged, everything we're talking
Everything
about.
is alleged,
Uh,
and it's only,
and
yeah,
we are only speculating. But
yeah,
right, so the timeline here, Nules, right? So we have March 20.
yeah, that's right.
2025. Sorry, I keep calling him Gaine. It's Gaine, as
Ian,
far as I
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
Michael Gaine, he buys a phone credit in and a lunch roll in Centra and Kenmare, and
hmm,
that's between 7:30 and 4:48 a.m. Around 10 a.m. He arrives at his farm in Carrigeast near Molly's Gap, and last seen by Michael Kelly, whose name will come up again. Uh, Gainey performs farm chores that day, expected to meet someone about a tractor. Now that's an interesting part. Like, and that's seemingly was corroborated by Michael Kelly,
I was going to
Michael
say, who
Gaine.
said that? Who said
Yeah.
that?
So it's
Yeah.
an interesting one. But he seemingly said it to a friend as well. He was to meet
Okay.
someone about a tractor. Uh, like, I don't know. I don't know if that person's ever come forward. Again, the cops are
Yeah.
fairly tight-lipped on this. But that evening, anyway, Gain, he did not return home. Family becomes concerned. Kelly's seen fixing the brakes on his Jeep the next day. Then on what we see is from March 20 to April 25th. So Gardaí conduct searches around the farm and nearby areas.
Yes.
50 defence members involved. 100 witness statements. 1,500 hours of CTV and dashcam footage are reviewed. And
Yeah.
again, there's still nothing here at this stage. Like, and
Nothing.
that's a
It
good
was like
stretch of
he
time.
disappeared off the face of the planet. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's what it seemed like.
yeah,
Until we fast forward to April 29th, 2005. So Gardaí reclassified the case then as a homicide and launched a criminal investigation. And then on the 16th of May, you know, tragically in a slurry pit, Gainey's slurry tanks are spread across a field and
yeah.
human remains are discovered in the slatted slurry pit, and the
I
farm
think what
officially
happened
becomes a
was
crime
a
scene.
neighbour was going spreading the slurry, and he was out spreading the slurry, and the machine got clogged. And when he went
Yeah,
to check, then
and
it's
flesh
quite
was.
gruesome. Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
gruesome. Like, yeah,
yeah. I remember when this story was breaking, it was just like, what? Jesus,
it's
this is like something you hear about in America.
yeah, in such a little picturesque part of the country. Like,
Yeah, beautiful part of the
yeah,
world, really, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So we skip on then to May 19th.
Mm.
Uh, so he was initially arrested on the 18th of May, detained and for under 24 hours, but let go on the 19th. No file sent to the DPP. Either he didn't I don't know. Wasn't enough evidence anyway to
No.
keep him
Well,
even.
he kind of self-proclaimed himself as the suspect then, didn't
Yeah,
he? Yeah.
yeah, he did.
Do you know, he wasn't released as such. It was him that said, "Yeah, I am the suspect," when he was
Yeah, and
approached.
last known person to see him as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
So, and that kind of brings us up to nearly where we are now again.
Which there
Like,
has been radio silence. Like I was trying there when I knew I was coming on to talk about him, and I was trying to find what was the latest. I couldn't find anything really, to be honest with you. It's been kind of radio silent.
nothing. Like, I think the thing that stuck out to me is Garda HQ confirmed a peer review of the investigation handling is
Yes.
underway, which,
How it was handled in the first place. That is,
yeah,
that's not the ongoing investigation, though. Like,
no,
you know, because I suppose they had already searched the farm before he was found, you know, obviously, but like that's where it throws up a lot of questions. I mean, obviously they weren't looking for a dismembered body. They were looking for, at the time, a missing person, and they, you know, I suppose they weren't kind of, I suppose what I'm trying to say is they should have kept their net wide and not kind of just focus, this is a missing person, like, you know. But they had checked all those areas and obviously nothing. But I don't know, like, I've obviously never seen a chopped up body in a slurry tank. I don't know how, and I'm sorry to be so gruesome, I don't mean to be so gruesome, but I don't know how big or how small these bits were. Would they have been viewable to a naked eye who was not actually was looking for a full body, as opposed to little bits of a body in a slurry tank first time round? Do you know? So, yeah, there's been no actual crime scene found either. Like, you know, like if he was murdered at the farm because of what happened to him in the end, you would think there would be a hell of a lot of blood around the place, wouldn't you?
yeah. Like, I
Even
know
if
what
that had been cleaned up.
they reckon it was 2 knives used. So
Yeah.
that, like, I seen that in the Examiner. They had that reported, on the Irish Examiner. So 2 knives, like, they obviously had and again, to be gruesome here, an enough chunk of flesh to be able to see the different blade marks from 2 different knives.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting one. Like, again, not to overly speculate on very scant information, but you know, was the knife changed throughout? Like, was it, or was it like? Because I think the cutting or the dismembering of the body, I think they were sure was a chainsaw,
And they did
unless
find a
knives were used
chainsaw.
as well.
They did find a chainsaw on site, but I couldn't find whether, like, when they
Corroborate.
tested it, was there blood on it or that, like, you
Yeah,
know. But I'm sure, I'm presuming if that had been used to actually dismember his body, that it would have been very obvious from just looking at it. Do you know, I'm sure it'd be very hard to clean a chainsaw unless you kind of dismantled it
yeah, because
and
the
get rid
bits
of.
would be,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wouldn't you think so? Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not a chainsaw expert by any manner of means, but just from looking at them, you kind of say, sure, how would you clean that? Like,
no way. You know, and like, especially something like, soft tissue, like it'd be,
yeah,
But it's like it's the brutality of it as well. Like, and maybe like the brutality of it was just complete uh, opportunistic. That the slurry tank is, but just go bury. Like, surely you'd bury the body. Like, I can't understand why you would. Like, I think there's something more to this. And here's my point of view. I think,
yeah.
like, there's a mass. All the fields there, Kenmare. This is a very
I know it's a massive area.
sparse place. There's
Yeah.
so many places you could bury a body.
It's kind of like the Wicklow Mountains in a sense.
Yeah, it is 100%. Where there's just
Yeah.
it's very
It just disappeared.
sparsely populated. There's lots of
Yeah.
places, but to put to subject the body to that, there's something there that just seems
Like
far
hatred.
more vicious
It's like
than
a
what was
hatred.
needed. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know, it to me, I mean, it's an awful extreme. I mean, obviously, I don't know what it's like to cut up a body, and I will never know what it's like to cut up a body, but I'm presuming it will be very hard. I mean, I'm thinking thigh bones, pelvises. You know, I mean, it's like with a knife. Like, that's why I'm thinking there has to have been more than just a knife. There has to, they had to have a chain. You couldn't. Had they help? Like, would one person be able to do all that? Now, I know they say that the agitators. Now, again, I'm not well up on slurry pits, but there's an agitator in the slurry pit that goes around, and I think there might be blades on that. That's like, I did read some people's comments saying that the agitator could have, that the body could have been put in whole, and the agitator could have minced up the body. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how. I can't say that for sure now because I don't know about agitators, unless anybody
Yeah.
in your comments could tell us. Do you know?
Yeah, and I didn't see anything in the press, but that's an interesting point, because like if there was something there moving around, if the body would decompose and it'd get more probably brittle, that it could tear and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like surely like the post, well, I suppose, can you do a post
How
mortem?
you couldn't? Yeah. Like, there's nothing there, and like any DNA of any description, I'm sure. Like, I mean, slurry would be very acidic. I'm presuming any DNA would be gone. Like, it's a
Yeah.
good way, I suppose, if the person had thrown them in there fully intact. Like, I'd be presuming they're thinking anything on me will be gone in the slurry. They'll never find it. Like, do you know?
Yeah.
Was it just an easy option? Get rid of the body, throw it in the slurry pit,
Yeah, and that could maybe be if there's an element of it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
But if it was
It
the
would be
other
hard,
way,
I'm sure, to lift up on your own those slatted. They're cement, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's the like, so if it was dismembered, like that takes a lot of conscious effort and
That's what I'm
time.
saying. It's a
So
lot
you
of
have to
work.
be a real psychopath to
Yeah.
to undertake that action. I mean, like a real psychopath.
That's a very scary thought, because that means that person is still walking around this country somewhere.
Is
You know?
and is an extremely dangerous person. If you
Yeah.
can stomach the dismembering of a body, and like I can only imagine someone you knew. I don't think you'd do this to a stranger.
Yeah, like,
That
it's
doesn't
very
make no
out of
sense.
the way as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, again, Sophie Toscan de Plantier, they're not, you'd have to know where these places are to get to them. Do you know what I mean? They're not on the beaten track. They're off the beaten track, way off the beaten track, like, So, like, I think they ruled out as well that somebody followed him out from the town. Do you know? Because I wondered that. Did he maybe take money out of an ATM, or did he, was he, like, there's been all these rumors and speculation going on as well, like, which again, as I said, are just rumors and speculation. There's nothing fact that we know, like, that he had been involved with some drug cartels or something, which I find highly ridiculous, like, do you know?
Yeah,
It doesn't
like I think where
sound-
that's coming from is there was a Garda checkpoint that morning, and I think they were trying to. I know the press were probing to see how he drove through the checkpoint. The checkpoint was set up to try and bust seemingly some car that was going to have 20 grand of cannabis in it.
Okay.
But there was never any link, as far as I'm
Yeah,
aware,
no.
anyway,
I, like,
between that.
I was wondering then, was it because of the way they thought he had died, because of the
Just some
gruesomeness of it?
gangland, like
Yeah. Do you
cartel
know?
out in Mexico or
Yeah.
something.
Like, it's
do
not going to
stuff
be
like
Johnny
that.
down the road that's pissed off that you stole some of his sheep, like,
Yeah.
So, it's just, yeah, it's mind-boggling. And I'd love to know where they're at in the case. Like, what's the story? Where are they at? Like, is your man just a fall guy, Michael Kelly?
Yeah.
Did he go berserk? People were saying that that Michael Gaine had asked him to leave. Again, speculative. We don't know if that's true or not. Did he go berserk at him?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no. Like he said he was being chased by a violent criminal gang and stuff like that. There was some weird statements came out. And then like I think there was a bit weird behaviour in my eyes where after he was seen out busking with a flute and
this is the
stuff.
Michael Kelly guy, is it?
Yeah, after being the main suspect, like around Kenmare and
You
stuff.
think it was going to make him a kind of a celebrity, a kind of a mini celebrity or something?
Yeah. Has since
Yeah.
gone very quiet now.
He's gone very
but-
good. I wonder, did the Gardaí speak to him and tell him, you need to zip it?
Yeah, because that's it. Could have been like.
Do you know?
Because by no intents and purposes, like anything I've read, all the research I've done, like I can't see any, like even comments and stuff like that had a bad word to say about Michael Gaine.
It sounded
Not
like
one.
he was a lovely, lovely guy
Yeah,
that was just
like
minding his
salt of
own
the earth
business,
man.
getting on with his life. He loved his farm. They said the farm was the love of, he just loved being out in that farm. So he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would be involved in any organised crime of any description. to me, it seems like it was either a crime of opportunity, which I don't think it was, or somebody had a grind,
Yeah.
a bone to pick with him,
And
or
no,
pissed
so
off at him.
all the research, like, because before even I say my, like, what I'm thinking there, like, all the research you've, like, done, like, I was saying this to you off camera, like, it's almost, you know, you're kind of doing the work of what a non-fiction true crime writer is doing. They're going through any information they can get. They're going through other books. They're going through internet research, news
Yeah,
clippings, and all that. You
yeah.
know, I don't know how many episodes you've done now, but it's a lot, and you've covered a
Yeah,
vast array of cases.
70, I think, at this stage. Yeah,
70.
I think it's nearly that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to count them now, but it's something
So with
near.
all them 70, like, what's the themes that permeate through around motive?
Um,
Or any themes, like, but motive is the main thing. If you
mo-
can figure out a motive, like,
motive.
why?
Yeah, a lot of the motive for me, say with a lot of the say women that were murdered, and that it's definitely always something to do with love of some description or lack thereof. You know, somebody might be wanting to leave, or coercive control is a big thing.
And
A
what's
big
that now
thing.
again? Like, just for the
Like
listeners, like, it's
it's
like a,
basically, I suppose, coercive. How would you describe coercive control? It's like you and your partner, right? It's a gradual kind of where they start to isolate you from.
manipulating and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of starts as an isolation from family and friends.
Oh, I
You know what I
get you.
mean? Getting you on your own, kind of keeping you away from people, downing you the whole time, telling you you're, you know, stupid, telling you this, telling you, won't let you leave the house. You know, it's control. It's controlling the person, but it's coercive in the sense, I suppose, that if I say to you, Gary, I think you're under her control there now, but you go, no, sure. Mary loves me. She wouldn't do that to me. You know, they have you
Yeah.
brainwashed kind of as well. Do you know, but eventually then I think a lot of these women kind of, you know, realize what's happening to them. They start to get stronger in whatever way they can, I suppose. Might, in some cases, tell them they're going to leave or planning to leave. And that's when they die. In
Because
lots of
they
cases.
don't want that control to end.
No.
It's become a
Yeah.
fixation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, another kind of ongoing kind of theme I see as well, obviously, is, and I mean, I'm not making this all about women's being victims, right? I know men are,
More often are.
yeah, I know men are victim of crime as well, and I'm very much aware of that. I have covered a good few of them, you know, but just the vast majority, I suppose, as you said, the majority are female. Like, it's very scary to think women can't, like, we should be allowed to, but we can't walk on our own at night. You know, you can't wear certain.
Even in the day. We seen
Yeah.
Ashley Murphy. You can't even go for a
Yes,
jog at
even in the
4
day now.
p.m.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can't wear certain items of clothing, you know, because they'll be saying you were asking for it. Do you know, this kind of stuff. There's a lot of like, we think we're ahead in so many ways, but in other ways we're not. And I'm not obviously dogging all men. I know the majority of men are gentlemen and would not act in any way. But
bad
you could be the
actors.
misfortunate one to be in the wrong place at the wrong time with some guy that is not one of the good ones.
And they
you know?
exist out there. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. And you see videos online, so much of these kind of cases popping up where,
Yeah.
you know, people like
Yeah.
kind of grabbing women, or like,
Yeah.
I seen a woman just being kicked down the stairs there recently.
Oh
And,
my God.
like, you know, horrific stuff. Like, just because she didn't, she kind of evaded the passes of some guy and his friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's just horrific stuff.
Yeah. A lot of, like, you know, as well. Now, I'm not even talking about the cases I've covered here now, but like stuff that I'd see online about the incel movement. Yeah, that's kind of a very scary, like when you just said that she got kicked down the stairs there because she kind of said no to some guy. You know, that seems to be kind of, again, another kind of cancer of our internet era.
I was
You know,
just about to say,
yeah,
it's like these losers would never,
have found each other.
would be able to congregate. Like, because
Yeah.
the thing is, like, the world was a far bigger place without the internet. There might be one kind of someone with a similar kind of weird perspective on women and on,
Yeah.
you know, mating selection, all that. but like you wouldn't be able to form these like insidious
Relationships.
groups. Like I can
Yeah.
imagine the group chat,
Yeah.
the sort of sordid chatter that does be
Yeah.
going on,
And
and
they're
then
poisoning each other's brains even
poisoning each other.
more and more, hatred towards women, seemingly because they can't get a girlfriend. Is that the whole point to the whole thing?
Yeah, but they're probably just like, like it's a weird like that you just start to hate.
Yeah.
Like I mean, visceral hate.
Oh,
Like
visceral, where they'll go out and kill.
yeah,
Like should they have done. There has been, I think, there was one guy, I can't remember his name now. He's seemingly that they all hold in high esteem. He's like their kind of go-to guy now, because he went out and he killed a load of women and then killed himself basically. But he'd done a video, he'd done a TikTok or something prior, or a YouTube video prior with his manifesto. And all the incels now kind of look to him as their almost god figure, like,
yeah. Like it's a weird. It's a weird misstep and kind of in any sort of evolutionary pathway, because like when you break down like a lot of evolution, what genes survive and adapt for survival, like pretty much the kind of core operating principle is, survive, have enough resource, and propagate your genes. But
Yes.
like with these, I don't know, like where's the misstep? Like that behavior, how is it grown that enough people can kind of have groups of these? Like, because normally them behaviors would die out because these people aren't propagating their genes if they're going killing women rather than trying to, find select a mate. Like it's so bizarre. And like, this is the problem then is, maybe it's not a gene, but are these behaviors then being, almost being activated by these communities? Like, is
That's what
that
I'm
what's
saying.
happening?
Well, they're I suppose they're thinking that way initially, and then they stumble upon like-minded people and they feed each other. This is just what I think is happening. They're feeding each other. And you know yourself, like if you hear something often enough, you'll start to really believe it, like, And they obviously have a dislike of women to begin with anyway, do you know? But like, I don't understand that. Like, do none of these men have mothers? Like, you know what I mean? That's the way
Sisters, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
sisters, any of that kind of stuff, like, I mean, not everybody is going to get married or have relationships in this world. Like, I mean, you don't go off murdering people because of it. Like, do you know? I'm presuming you don't get so het up. I don't know. I'm not a man, obviously. I'm presuming you just kind of resign yourself to the fact that, okay, some of these guys aren't even old. They're in their 20s. I'm like, give yourself a chance. You're only in your 20s. Do you know?
I know, but see, I think it's there. So you kind of get brainwashed, like cults. Kind of
Yeah.
cults. You get caught up in this group think, and the group think just becomes, I think, progressively darker and more insidious.
Yes.
And then next minute you're staring, you have a gun or a knife, held to a woman, and it's like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, and it's like, it probably doesn't happen overnight. It's these small steps. You're being rage baited. There's probably some sort of leader type that is like,
Charles Manson
propagandizing
comes
you.
to mind with his family.
Yeah.
Charles Manson, and again,
Yeah.
he would have been at that time period in the 60s or whatever that guy was talking about.
Yeah.
know?
The sexual revolution.
Yes, yeah. Do you know?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. Like there's just they're just mad. It's mad to me. The whole thing is crazy. Like, But again, I think a lot of it is these groups are meeting up online and they're just kind of feeding each other. I think wasn't that guy, now I could be completely wrong here and correct me if I'm wrong. Do you remember was it during the summer, some guy, was it in Germany or was it in Germany? He drove through the crowd or something. Was it in Germany?
Yeah.
Was it in Germany? I can't remember what country.
No, UK. It was the one in Liverpool.
Okay, but I heard the word incel being used for him, that he was an incel. Yeah. Now, it was different. Maybe it was the UK. Well, it was, wasn't it? It was one of the I can't remember what city in the UK it was, but it was definitely during the summer anyway.
Yeah, I remember there was one at Liverpool after the homecoming, after they won the league. No, I think that guy was just drunk. I don't know about...
Yeah, I think he just, but that was a kind of...
God, it's scary when we can't remember which one, if there's more than one. Like,
there's been that'll tell you, there's been so many of them down through the years, hasn't there?
And it's such easy, like low bar terrorism, because like to get in a vehicle is very, like to get a gun is very difficult, or to
Yeah.
have the stomach to go knifing people or axing people. To get in a car and hit an accelerator is
Is
just so, it's the
yeah.
lowest hanging fruit for terrorism, and it's frighteningly becoming more pervasive across,
Yes.
definitely across Europe. I don't know
Yeah.
about the US.
I remember being over in London a couple of years ago and walking across, was it Westminster Bridge or something? It was one of those bridges anyway. And like I'd been over it many times, and they had all along, they had the pavement and the road with between them, they had these big concrete. And I was kind of going, my God, it kind of made me very kind of, it kind of made it real. Like they're there to stop some person ramming into us, basically.
Murder,
Yeah.
pretty much,
No.
or an act of terrorism or something, like, if whatever reason someone's doing it for them. But, it's kind of when you're plowing down people, it's either mass murder or terrorism really related, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's driving it.
Absolutely.
But
But getting back to that they're the two kind of big things that I do see, like coercive control, like is one of the big ones, like, and I mean, I've covered a few of the familicides now, between my podcasts, and like the husbands have, one of the husbands in one of them had, again, mental health problems. Then another one of the husbands, definitely it was coercive control, and the wife was planning on leaving him.
yeah,
And the whole family got wiped out for that
yeah,
reason.
Jesus.
Do you know?
It's scary. Like, it's such a weird gene in some of that, like family annihilators.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and the other one, like, I think probably less so in Ireland, but definitely like the US. If you look at Dateline, or the preponderance is like there's some sort of monetary gain. You see that so much in the US, like
Definitely in
the
the US.
amount of life
Life
insurance
insurance.
murder.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely in the US. I don't know. Would it be as much here, maybe?
Don't hear, like, and the thing is
But
about farmer deaths, like normally when there's a farmer death, like typically going off statistics, it's due to land, and it's between two Ormond farmers, and it's normally a shotgun or it's a shovel. The Michael Gaine is such a strange one,
wasn't
because
there one there in Cork there a few years ago?
yeah,
The
yeah,
family and the poor mother was dying of cancer. I remember that.
yeah,
And she had said she was going leaving the farm to someone of the other sons anyway. And the other son then did away with the rest of them. Yeah. I mean, that was obviously land, yeah.
and land, like, yeah, land in Ireland is I think it's because of, I think it's so coveted, because I think
Because it was taken
didn't
off
have
us
it,
before. So
didn't have it for 800
we're not
years.
letting it go again.
The
Yeah.
British were coming taking it by the fucking acre.
Yeah, yeah. What is it? Sure, wasn't it in Gone with the Wind? Do you remember? Wasn't it Scarlett O'Hara? The land you have, it's like your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
But
know?
we might switch back now to a cold case just before we finish out, Nules.
Yes. What would you like to
And that
cover,
is the
Terry?
Irene White murder.
Yes.
Because you did it, I don't know, it was maybe a month or two ago, you did an
Okay.
episode on it. And it's
Yeah.
probably one of the episodes that blew my mind the most. Number one, I wasn't aware of it. And number two, it's like the mastermind's still at large. And it's just like, oh my God, are we living in a
I know. An alternative
reality at
universe.
all? Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah. And I hadn't now, full disclosure, I hadn't ever heard of it before either.
oh,
And it was somebody that knew Irene contacted me to know would I cover it, because this person that they think may have been involved is still at large.
mastermind.
The mastermind, that's the right word, yeah. Yeah. Do you know, after all these years, I mean, it happened in 2005.
Yeah.
So this person has gotten away with it
20
now
years.
for 20 years. If there are two, like, I mean, obviously, I mean, it was brutal, like, it was a brutal murder, like,
And a mother of three, like,
and mother of three. Yeah.
and I know you'll get into it, but it was the viciousness of it.
Vicious. It was, yeah, because, like,
Frenzy.
frenzied attack. I'm presuming, I'm thinking they weren't expecting her to fight back probably the way I'd say she fought back, like, fought hard, you know. But do you want me to give you a bit of the background for
Yeah,
your
go, because
listeners
a
or
lot of
whatever?
us listeners
So
mightn't have heard this case. And by the way, I do recommend go and listen to Nules' full thing on it. It's so well researched. You're going to get a quick blurb here,
yeah,
and
a quick
after
blurb.
that, you'll get the full episode.
So basically, the background anyway. Irene was 43 at the time, and she was living in Dundalk, right? She was a mother of three, as you said, and separated from her husband, and she was trying to rebuild her life, basically. She had told her friends at the time that she felt she was being watched, and her home at the time was called, why it was called the Ice House Murders, was it backed onto Ice House Hill Park, and the house itself was known as the Ice House. So Irene then, on the morning of the 6th of April 2005, she'd done the school run, she'd dropped the kids to school, she came home and basically was attacked in her own kitchen, viciously attacked, right? And it was her mother then that discovered her. You know, she used to come over every morning around midday for a cup of tea because she lived nearby. So the mother then discovered the scene. The brutality reverberated around the town. And despite canvasses, forensics and appeals, the case went cold for more than a decade. All right, so it was in 2017 a breakthrough came when Gardaí arrested a man from Monaghan, Anthony Lamb was his name. And in an interview, he confessed, telling detectives that he had been hired to kill Irene. All right. So he said this other man, a businessman called Niall Power, had connected to a local security kind of, he used to have his own security kind of business, I suppose is the word you'd use, had provided inside information about when Irene would be alone, supplied a knife and promised money and his debt forgiveness because he owed money to this guy. So investigators followed the paper trails and digital trails, phone contacts around the relative times, and a bank withdrawal that morning tying to Lamb's accounts of events. In January 2018, Lamb pleaded guilty to murder and received a life sentence. The following year then, Niall Power pleaded guilty to arranging the killing and also received lives. Those convictions finally gave Irene's family some measure of justice, but who was behind the two of them?
Yeah.
That's the
The
question.
mastermind is still at large.
That
And
is
like, I
the
think what I
question.
read subsequent to this was because like Lamb was, he was on a cocktail of cocaine and alcohol. He was had a lot of drug debt or something like that. Kind of he
Yeah,
owed money anyway
no,
to Power.
yeah, I think your man had given him a bailout, if I remember
That's
correctly.
it. And he worked for him doing security jobs.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. How are you broaching that subject? Are you going up to him, hey mate, will you do a job for me? Like, how does that
I always
conversation
wonder that.
go?
I always wonder that. You know, any of these contract killings that you know, you'd see them online. I'd often be watching and be a contract killer. A lot of them actually, now that I say it, wives wanting their husbands killed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that seems to be how the wives do it. You know, they want somebody else to do it for them.
Yeah.
So I suppose they don't want to do it themselves. But yeah, I often say that she wasn't Lying Eyes. Do you remember that case, Lying Eyes,
Yeah.
was it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, I couldn't picture approaching somebody and saying, you wouldn't fancy killing somebody for me, I'll give you 20 grand.
And seemingly Niall Power had offered some other, I think it was a doorman, 35,000.
That's right, yeah.
I'd seen that as well. But like at the end of the day, like they got obviously Lamb. Like it's just strange though that he hadn't any like criminal history, and to go in and stab a woman 34 times in the
Yes.
front, or 15 times to the front,
It was
more
it
to
was
the back.
vicious for somebody that seemingly never did this before. It was and you know, had nothing personally himself, you know, against the woman. Do you know what I mean? You know, there wasn't anything.
A level of rage and
Yeah, it
frenzy.
was like a crime of passion.
Yeah,
You know, it's the kind you see when it's somebody going, "I'm going to wipe you off this earth," basically.
yeah.
You know, like, I mean, he'd probably never seen her before.
No, no.
Like, had never had any contact with her anyway, definitely.
Well,
You
he
know?
just wouldn't have had that hatred built up for
Mm.
30. No, unless she fought back. But I still 34 is so overkill. I don't think a burglar would do that if they were trying to run with make it look like a burglary because they didn't even take it and it was so
They just make sure
sloppy
you were
that way.
knocked out, kind of, wouldn't they? And then they'd run for the hills, like, do you know?
Yeah, didn't look like a hit.
No.
because a hit would have been very clean,
Yeah.
clinical, over very quickly. So all it looked like was a crime of passion, which was going to tie back to the mastermind, let's
The
say,
mastermind, yeah. Yeah.
without actually tying him because he had a
I
really
can't
strong alibi.
understand how well, maybe not him, but how Niall Power himself hasn't, given him up. Like
I
what?
read so I read that him and Lamb didn't give up because they were worried about retribution within the prison system. So whether this
Oh,
guy's connected, I don't know.
must be then. Yeah.
But like, still, it's just like if you're going down, like, and you were the kind of pawns in it,
Yeah.
like, would you
But
not
that's what I'm
like be
saying. Like,
looking for a deal or something?
for
I
a
don't know.
lenient sentence or something, you'd give it up, wouldn't you? Like, are you? If I know if it was me, I'd be kind of going, I'm not taking the whole rap for this. It was your idea in the first place.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. Like, murder hits in Ireland are just rare, and this was just a case. It was so strange. Like,
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, I'd say for its time anyway. I'd say it must be nearly one of the first ever kind of that kind. Do you know?
yeah,
And I mean, Lamb hadn't he now? I mean, it's a while since I did it. Hadn't he kind of semi confessed to a girlfriend or something at one stage? Wasn't
yeah, and sure, didn't
Yeah,
she ring in from Australia?
that's it. Yes, she rang in from
That's
Australia.
what broke the case.
Yeah,
2016, she rang from Australia,
yeah.
uh, had said it, but it
But
was
she
from a
didn't want
faithful
to
one.
see. Yeah, she didn't want to either. Kind of get involved in the sense. She was kind of. They actually had to go to her then.
Yeah,
Do you
because this
know?
guy didn't seem like that, unless it was just complete, like, you
He was
know,
desperate to pay off his bills. Now, I mean, you'd be saying, Jesus, how desperate were you? But he seemed
yeah,
very, I suppose if he had that issue with drugs and all that, maybe, I don't know. There's no explanation
hard to
for it.
understand, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
hard to understand it.
there's actually no explanation for it.
But to not commit a crime, like, I had another guest on, and not to go on a tangent here or anything like that. Mike Gatto was his name. He's like a Californian legislator, but his dad was murdered in 2013.
Right.
Like, so many theories on it. We went through it all on the show. But
Yeah.
uh, like, with that, obviously all the theories anyway, but like, they got DNA, and the DNA wasn't in the system and hasn't pinged since.
Really?
Like, if it was this burglar, or like, 'cause one theory was there was a
Like a one-off.
burglar in the neighborhood. Another theory was it was the Russian mob, like,
Right.
because he had these Russian paintings. Uh, all these other theories, but like, for the DNA not to ping in the system, and it's
Yeah.
similar with Lamb. Like, he hadn't committed a crime
Yeah.
before or after.
You're
It's
these
so rare that you
pillars of
go your first
society,
crime.
and then all of a sudden you just, like, I don't know, is it like they have this mental breakdown for a brief period or something, and then, but how do you go back to being normal then? Like,
No,
how do you go back to living a normal life after that? Like, I think eventually it would get to me, the guilt. If I thought I'd done something like that to somebody, and like the person that had contacted me about Irene White said that it was actually her mother that would have been a friend of Irene's, and she said that Irene was an absolute lady. She said she was so lovely. She was, they couldn't understand who would have wanted to do this to her.
yeah,
Do you
and
know?
seemingly she'd had people were saying her life was at
Yeah.
risk, before death.
I think she kind of she knew that if she was, like, she had said to people, like, if something did happen to her, it was that person, the mastermind.
And
Do you know?
again, it goes back to money, that one.
Yeah.
Probably coercive control maybe as well, but
Oh,
definitely with
definitely a
money.
bit of
Where
that. Yeah.
was she blocking maybe the sale of the ice house, or
Yeah.
wanted money out of it,
And
or
it was worth a bit of money, like, do you know?
yeah, nearly £1 million back
Yeah.
in 2003. That would
Yeah.
feel like probably 3 million now. Like,
Yeah. Do you know? So,
but the Lamb guy. So I read online, like, seemingly, no, this was only on Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of
yeah.
salt. But he'd tried to commit suicide twice out of guilt. But what doesn't ring true then with me in this is he was bragging to that ex about it.
Yeah.
He wasn't confessing in like,
No, in a kind of, if
what have I
sorry.
done? It was a
Yeah.
brag.
Yeah.
And I don't think if you're bragging to 1 minute,
You're not sorry.
you're not guilty the next. But I just don't understand, because it's like, you snap and be like a psychopath and then go back to normal life. It's just so
Yeah, because he was
bizarre.
going to college and everything, wasn't he? Like,
Yeah,
and they thought he was, nobody, like, it kind of brings it back to the age-old adage, like, do we really know anybody? Kind
I
of,
know.
like anybody that knew him was shocked to learn
Mad. It's
that
so mad,
he had
honestly.
done
It's
this,
one of them cases. And like with the mastermind, I know in 2023 the guards tried to get him
Mm,
convicted, but the
yeah,
DPP wouldn't
they wouldn't,
wouldn't
yeah, there
wouldn't
wasn't
go
enough
with it.
evidence, they said, you see.
Yeah.
And you see, he sounds like a very uh, cute guy, like, you know what I mean? He seems to be able to wriggle.
We could have possibly got away with
Well, yeah, he possibly has, like, definitely, yeah.
ordering a murder, maybe
Yeah,
not committing. I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know
well,
what.
that's what I'm saying. He kept his own hands clean, like.
Yeah.
He seems to have kept him very clean. But you'd
Yeah.
always be, I think, you'll always be watching over your shoulder
Yeah.
with the knock on the door.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
I couldn't live like that.
Always. And
Yeah, until your dying day.
every knock on the door will be
Yeah, and that has to be a form of torture in itself, I think.
yeah, 100%. Well, look,
You
I think
know,
we've covered a whole panoply of crime there, mysteries. We're very much an Ireland crime and
I'm
mysteries
telling you,
duo there
you had,
tonight.
you had me on a tangent.
Yeah, no, but look, as always, Nules, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh my God,
Love
it was a
going on your
pleasure.
podcast. Love having you on. Always good to connect. Anyway,
And listen, it was an honour to be back for the 50th.
yeah, that's it.
I can't
So
believe being your first guest and now your 50th guest. But my God, long may it continue for you now, Gary. As I said, you have a
we get you back
fantastic
at
podcast.
100.
What at age?
But yeah, look, Nules, thanks so much. I'll put your link for any of the listeners. Nules' podcast is an absolute must listen. Ireland Crime and Mysteries. I'll link it below anyway. Just 70 episodes of absolute
Yeah,
gold.
thereabouts. Yeah. Sound, Gary. Yeah, thanks a million. And sure, look, I look forward to hearing from all the new listeners and continued success with your amazing podcast. You have some fantastic guests on.
Well, look, and you're one of them. Look, thanks a million, Nules. Yeah, cheers. We'll have
All
you on
right,
again.
Gary.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Sound.